Hello and welcome to Core Values, the All Things Broken Arrow Public Schools podcast. I'm your host, Greg Spencer, and with me today, as always, is Superintendent of Schools, Chuck Perry. Chuck, how you doing?
I'm doing great. You have two great guests today. I'm excited.
Why don't you introduce them for us? We got an exciting show. We're here to honor two of our award winners recently. We had our Star Gala a couple weeks ago, and you guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We've got Kyle Cole, kindergarten teacher.
Pre-K or it's kindergarten now, formerly pre-K, right? Okay,
Kindergarten.
Just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Kindergarten at Rhodes Elementary, and is our district teacher of the year that we are so proud to celebrate. And we've got about 1,500 teachers across the district, and just phenomenal ones. And to be recognized as the teacher of the year for the entire district, that's pretty impressive.
And as we were talking before we got rolling, first male teacher of the year since 2012, Brandon Chitty.
Oh, wow.
Fun fact of the day. Yeah.
You all are an elite group there.
A little club.
Yeah.
A little club going.
And then we have a behavior coach from the Broken Arrow Freshman Academy, Maurice Wallace. And if anybody would just walk around with him during the day and see him interact with students, it would become very evident why he was selected as the Beyond and Above winner for our support staff.
Thank you.
It is, again, a very daunting process to go through all of our great support casts that we have across the district, and for you to be singled out and identified, that means you're doing things right. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about you today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And
Mr.
you
Perry.
wear two different coaching hats for us.
Yes,
we have
sir.
a football coach as well, but
Yes,
I'm sure
sir.
there's a lot of crossover there.
Oh, it's big time crossover. Being at the Freshman Academy and also being the freshman football head coach, it's that's another reason why I like where I'm at.
So we'll let you kick things off because we got to talking beforehand.
Yes, sir.
You told me you're from Broken Arrow, and then we
Yeah.
have a connection a little bit.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
us a little bit about your background.
Well, NEO, Miami, Oklahoma.
Go NEO.
Yes, Norseman. Went to NEO. Obviously, out of NEO, got my first job with Coach Whiteley, call him White Dog, at Catoosa High School. Was there for a few years. Then went into youth football. Was admin doing with Chad Lott with Broken Arrow Youth Football,
Very cool.
INFC. Then one day I was at a basketball tournament in Skytook, watching our guys play and seeing Darren Melton. He was an old coach of mine. And I said, Darren, I need to get back.
Where did Darren coach you?
Darren coached here. He was my secondary coach here under Rick Jones.
I didn't know that.
And seeing him, I said, hey, I want to get back in education. I want to get back into coaching and everything. And we did what we had to do. And him and Steve Dunn hired me back. And I was at Sequoia as a substitute. And then a behavioral position came open. And after that, Coach Blankenship gave me an opportunity to be the freshman head football coach, and we're here today, right where we are.
Well, why don't you talk a little bit about a behavior coach? A lot of the public may not realize what all that entails and what your day looks like and what your role in.
Okay, day starts at about 7 o'clock in the morning, roll in. Basically, behavior coach, we wear different hats every day. We're underneath the special education umbrella, so I deal a lot with the special education kids. But being teamed up with Brittany Costello, Miss Costello, we have a class called Effective Ed, where we work on behavioral issues, social emotional skills, and throughout the day, I'm interacting with all the Gen Ed kids, SPED kids. It doesn't matter. Check on teachers all day long. Just try to keep the hallways positive. Coming through with a smile on your face. I don't think people understand that these kids today, they go through what they go through daily. It's all magnified by millions and millions of things. But just having a smile on your face and just being there for the kids is the big time on what I think the behavioral coach should be about.
Well, and anybody who's seen his video can see that those weren't staged shots.
Oh, there weren't.
We were
Yeah.
videoing you in the hallway,
Yeah.
interacting with the kids, and I think the cameras stay back a little bit, and those kids just come up to you. I'm sure that's what it looks like every day.
Well, yes, and I love the kids. I mean, I don't think people understand. I mean, yes, they're like we were talking about earlier. 9th grade is such a transitional year for kids. They're going through a lot. They need to find themselves. They don't know who they are at that point. They spend 3 years at the middle schools. They come to the high school for 1 year. Then obviously they come up here, but they're just trying to find themselves, and that's what I try to do is just try to help kids find themselves and be successful within that year of being a BAFA.
Love it.
Kyle, what about you? Tell us a little about your journey and how you ended up in Broken Arrow.
Well, I can definitely tell you about that. First, I just want to say that when I started at Rhodes, I got to know our behavior
Yes.
coach, Mr. C, and I saw the firsthand the benefit and just the importance of having somebody who makes those connections, is proactive, and just bless what you guys do.
I
and
appreciate
everything.
it. Thank you.
So important.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's just such a tough year and transitional year. I'm sure a lot rely on that. So those relationships, I'm sure they can last a long while.
Yeah, they can. I appreciate that. Thank
No
you.
problem. Just a little about myself. Yeah, I was born in Tulsa. I'm a Tulsa boy, born and raised, and grew up in Collinsville, kind of small town. So a little of both. My folks.
Is that where you graduated high school?
No,
Was Collinsville?
not Collinsville. I knew a lot of people who did up there. Though I actually went to Metro.
Okay.
My grandmother taught there.
Nice.
So she actually pioneered a lot of the SPED programs in Tulsa. And
wow.
Very
it's
cool.
really cool. But after that, I took a little time off, kind of just searching for what I wanted to do. Took a lot of jobs, worked in a hospital. And one day on a whim, I kind of turned into Tulsa Community College just after a kind of a tough day. And kind of the rest is history. I kind of decided, my grandmother she said that I kind of had that teacher, heart, and that's what she was. And then, did a few years there, went to Oklahoma State, graduated 2012. It was the year that they were, I believe, second in the country for their football team. So it was tough not to get caught up in that. It was very surreal experience and everything, but graduated from there in December. So it's kind of an odd time of, what to do and where to go. Cast a big net, when I left there and graduated. Not a lot of callbacks. It was still kind of tough, in the middle of the year. Luckily, I got a phone call from Mrs. Peterson. There was
Is that Jennifer Peterson?
Yes. She's still Mrs. Peterson to me. I can't help it. She called me in. I applied for it was a temporary position, but she was so kind and supportive, and she's like, "Hey, just come in. We'll just talk about it." And I ended up getting a job there, Arrowhead, as instructional assistant, helping small groups. That position was dissolved. That got me in the district, and I just never looked back, because it was, as soon as I got here, it was such a cool feeling and different than what I was used to.
Right.
Different feel, community. After that position got dissolved, I didn't apply for anything. I was still kind of, figuring it out. Third grade, I thought, I think this is it for me. It's the top of my degree, and I thought that was the grade I wanted to teach.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So when you were at OSU, was that the plan, elementary ed? Because as we know, we don't have a ton of male elementary teachers.
Yeah,
so I think it's great for kids to see that, because you just don't see it very often.
It's big time.
Yeah, it was always the plan.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just kind of a unicorn that way. I don't know. It's just, I'm kind of a kid at heart, so it just seemed kind of natural in that. But I thought to myself, I was like, okay, older elementary, thereabouts. I get a call from Mrs. K. Long. There was a situation where I think we kind of briefly talked about it. Arrow Springs was an elementary, and they were converting to early childhood, and so was Oakcrest. I think they were revamping, so they put us in the old Haskell building, and that's when I got hired on. But she came in, she's like, "Listen, have you ever thought about teaching pre-K?"
And you're like,
I said, in my head, I thought, "There's no way. There's absolutely no way." And I said, "But I said I'll come in, because it's good to make those connections, and you never know." I got in there. About 10 minutes later, I'm like, "What just happened?" I got a job at teaching pre-K, and the first day I got in there, meeting the people, Mrs. Ellett, Cindy Ellett, who's she's still my unofficial mentor after all these years.
Yeah, and talked glowingly about you on the video at the gala.
She's retired, but I still search her out for advice. That got me into the early childhood, and I just loved it, because there's just such a malleable age, and it's just their first, even for kindergarten now, what I teach, it's most of them, it's their first go at it. And so trying to create that love of learning early on is so important. So
well, tell us a little bit. We'll come back to you for a second. You touched on this a little bit when you were talking about how you ended up in BA, but talk a little bit about BAFA in particular, and kind of why that is a special place to you and kind of part of your mission.
Well, being a BA kid, that was South Intermediate whenever I was a kid. Mr. Perry knows about that. Just whenever I got the opportunity, Leslie Officer gave me the opportunity, and then obviously Mr. Rice signed off on it. Just being back, going through the school, seeing the dynamic of the teachers and the kids, it's a special place. And seeing the dynamic of admin. I mean, I think you put together a great admin there, Mr. Perry. I mean, from Mr. Rice to Mr. Gray to Ms. Silva, officer, and now we have Ms. C. That leadership there, even with counselors and all the teachers there. Obviously, we had our teacher of the year, Ms. Thompson, Aubrey Thompson. Big shout out to her.
Very impressed with her.
Yes, so I think that place, I don't think I can go anywhere else. I mean, I know there probably will be opportunities here in the next coming years, but I'm at BAFA for a long time if it's up to me.
Love it. You all have done a great job of creating a culture there that even though it's a one-year stop for our students, what you've done with the my mind's blank, Tiger Camp before school starts and making students feel included and connected, engaged to that site, and really you build relationships and that whole administrative team. You walk through the halls, the teachers are out in the hallways, a lot of interactions with the kids, and I think we're bearing the fruits of that, that being a well received from our community, a building they feel comfortable their kids going in there.
Yes.
And it did not, I think unfairly at times had a negative stigma, and I think you all have overcome that.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And one thing we like to do, and I know Mr. Rice talks about it, we like to get our kids ready for the high school. We try to do everything. We try to mimic a lot of things what the high school does, but we want to do things that is BAFA. Yeah. And another reason why I accepted the freshman head football coaching job is, Coach Blankenship always talks about ninth grade football being varsity prep. I also look at BAFA being high school prep. Like, let's get you ready for the big time up here.
Well, and if I remember correctly, you guys had a heck of a season this year, right? Didn't
yes.
Freshman team.
No, we didn't win conference. Yeah. We actually lost to the boys on South Memorial, but that'll come to head. That'll come to the finish here pretty soon. But yes, we had a successful season. We did take care of some teams that we knew we were going to take care of. It's just that one bug that we have to flick off our shoulder.
We'll bring you back on Inside Tiger Football.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Scoop on that. Kyle, what about you and Rhodes? What makes it special? And if you want to kind of continue on your story, how you arrived there and how you're succeeding there.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I can't remember if we were recording or not when I mentioned it, but I knew it was a special place when I walked in, and I'd been there a day or so and just getting settled, and then I see a goat run across the hall, and I had to do a double take, and I'm like, what did I just see that? And we have a teacher who at the time had raised some farm animals and brought them in, but it was just it was a culture that, to go to what Mr. Perry was saying about culture, it was just, you felt it right away when you walked in. Those walls kind of tell a story, and the teachers, they do so much. It was, it was that rising water that raised every boat. If you were there as a teacher, you wanted to do better. You just felt a need to help these kids. You find out real quick at Rhodes. It's just ever changing all the time you're there, but you spend some time there, you see the rewarding challenges that you can overcome and help these kids overcome, and that they need. So many of these have gone through multiple forms of trauma. So many just come to school, just the highlight is lunch, breakfast, and getting those, and realizing, really having to prioritize in your mind as a teacher, as a professional, prioritizing what you see, what you need to start with. And just the basics of it is just relationships. And so that's what Rhodes has become so amazing at, not just between the teachers. It is a family there, not to quote too much from Vin Diesel, but at Rhodes, the great American poet Vin Diesel, but at Rhodes, you don't have friends, you have family. You really do, but it translates to the kids as well.
I thought you were going to say everybody at Rhodes lives their life a quarter mile at a time.
I almost said that. Don't get me talking about
that's
movies.
my go-to quote.
So you talked about the importance of relationships, and that does That's a key to it all. Without that, nothing else matters. But I think what's unique to your classroom too is the environment in the classroom. And talk about, I don't know if it's a hobby on the side, but you've got a skill set as a carpenter that has translated into impacting your classroom also.
Yeah, we mentioned that on the video, but I'd actually like to come back and maybe focus on that at some point and showcase that.
Absolutely. I joke that if I did have a business, a side business, it'd be called the Hammered Thumb, because it's, it's because that's just kind of it is. You can tell by the history of what I've built. Some's a little more cattywampus than others, but this, it's so funny. Like I said, I'm a blue collar family. My dad was an electrician, mom was a nurse, and so my dad especially built so much by himself, did things. So I was exposed to that early on. But just when you get into the classroom, just what this sprung up from was a lot of it is just child-led, child interest. I started with one thing, built another. Hey, that would be cool. What would you want to use? Oh, a chalkboard table? Okay, yeah, we can come up with something. And that's just kind of spun into that, to where it was just a drive to build this room that I would love. I have a lot of inspiration from Montessori, from Reggio, from natural elements. It helps calm me. It helps relax me. So a lot of my stuff is made from that, but it's also it's purposeful, whether it's my art in my classroom, because so many kids need to have that to express themselves. Yeah. It's more approachable, especially when you're trying to teach them something that's, can be a little overwhelming and a little rigorous. That can help, break through that little barrier a bit. But I wanted to set the tone, because I think the classroom is indeed, it's the third teacher. Yeah, the teacher. I
like that. That's good.
The teacher, the parent, and then the classroom. So if I'm not teaching them directly, I want to do my best that they're learning something indirectly.
Great.
So
that's, as somebody that gets around to a lot of different schools and different school, rooms of individual teachers, I will say that I often notice, like, all right, when I walk in and I see a lot of thought put into a classroom, I can immediately tell, not only because I'm a visual guy and I want to make it look good, I kind of know what the video is going to be like ahead of time. Your video especially, it's easy to showcase teachers when they do fun things and have a great atmosphere and so on. What about you? Do you make any furniture?
No, I don't. I know I need some benches down at Baffin, so I might be making them this summer.
Might be calling Kyle.
I got you. I'll do what I can.
I got you.
I'd like to hear from both of you all. You both see students at different ages walk in the door in August, and we're at April right now. What type of growth are you expecting from them, and from all these different backgrounds and coming from different circumstances? What are the things that you're seeing now that weren't there in August?
I know for myself, I like to always talk about when they come in August, like you said. There's a couple particular students that we have in Costello Knight's classroom that at the beginning of the year, after reading information about them from particular middle schools, we knew we were in for hard work. Now to see the wheels turning and see those kids and the progress that they've made, it's incredible. Just to see the growth. I know in 9th grade, they come in as baby-faced kids, and next thing you know, they're growing beards by the time April rolls around. And I just think that just to see the growth and maturity of a kid, and to see what you have done to help them go along that path, I think that's just incredible in itself. But just to see the progress, and you see the progress daily, but you just don't see it. I mean, we like to take pictures at the beginning of the year and then take a picture at the end of the year. Yeah. And just the progression of their, not only their appearance, but their maturity.
Yeah, I like it. Mr. Cole, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in growth over proficiency any day. I mean, we do all of what we can when we can, because like we talking about these kids before who come in, their goals are going to be very different than even if what you might have in mind. And so, teaching early childhood, it's almost like for some of these kids, they seem like different people, not just, physically, just where they grow. It seems like over Christmas break, like 3 inches, it seems, but just, you see those like part of my classroom, it helps foster, hopefully it helps foster independence. And once you foster that independence comes confidence, and you see them put themselves in situations they maybe not have done before. So because they know they can do something, fail at it, and learn from it and get over it, because resilience is such a important skill at this age, and that's something that they can carry with them no matter where they go through the age. And Rhodes is very interesting because we have a very diverse. You look at the neighborhood around Rhodes, and it's just ever changing. You'll see homes that something 3 stories. And then you'll see some that need some love and been there for a very long time, and the school reflects that. But the public school, like Rhodes, is especially. But I think what's great about Rhodes and great about just Broken Arrow in general is just it's this equalizer. Public school is, as I feel it should be, for everyone. Everyone has something to learn, something to gain. Whether it's socially, academically, and that's just where they all come. They just learn from teachers, but they learn so much from each other, and I'm sure they make connections with friends that they're going to carry on with them. And I can just, in my head, think of a few of them, like they're going to be friends for a very long time. And those are the people that you can rely on and as going forward.
Good.
Maurice, or Kyle, you talked a little bit about Cindy Ellett and the role that she played in your life. Did we talk about it off camera or on? We'll come back to that.
Sure.
Do you have a mentor or somebody in your educational
list,
journey?
Bro.
Yeah,
it's a long list.
You can sit here and read a list.
I can tell you right now, off the top of my head, I can even go back to my days at elementary at Arrow Springs. Miss Bias, Mr. Dickman, Miss Hamilton. At Sequoia, you had Miss Otten, who was also up for the award. I had Mr. Johnson. I had Coach Whiteley, Mr. Long at the high school here. Obviously, Rick Jones was a big deal for me. The late great Scotty Morgan, Darren Melton, Mr. Blackburn, who's also downtown in the Glass House. I mean, it's big time everywhere. Those are the guys and the ladies that have kind of molded me over the years, that I've thought about, like, hey, I want to do this. I want to get into education because they pushed me the way they pushed me.
Yeah. Kyle, what about anything else you want to expand on in there?
Well, sure. It's a long list as well. Just great mentors. Kay Long. When I came to Rhodes, or Cindy Ellett, of course, when I taught pre-K, when I ventured into kindergarten. Beth Barbie, Laura Haro, Allison Skipper, they continue to prop me up and help me with everything that I need. I can think of also elementary school. I love science stuff. I have a STEM club at Rhodes. I'd probably do it without the kids, to be honest with you. It's just this is a great excuse to do something like that. Miss Tomberlin in 4th grade I remember it's so clear her room had animals in it, and the tube with you can listen, like a little telephone type of thing. Biggest was probably my grandma. She passed last February, but she's with us all, and she did so much to impact education. She taught pre-K all the way up to college level at ORU, and made a lasting impression in Tulsa. She taught SPED and everything, and I mean, even in her later years, I would sit with her, and she might call me my brother's name, cousins, maybe the dogs as well. But she'd sit down and she'd tell me about your class. Never say tell me about work. It was tell me about class. And we would become two professionals, one educator to another, and it was just because her memory started to challenge her in her later years, but in those moments it would just become very vivid and clear, and she would still have tips and advice that still ring true, and I'm just glad I got to experience all that as much as I could before we lost her. But I'm just happy to carry on that legacy, but not just her, but every teacher that I've learned from. That's why I'm here.
That's great. Cool. You got me choked up there.
I'm so sorry.
I like that. It's big time.
Great.
So what does the future look like for you guys? Do you think you each want to continue on the similar roles? Do you want to take a new platform? You want to be an administrator? What's the future look like? We'll start with you.
Obviously in the near future, take on this role for probably another year or two. I know Mr. Rice has already spoken to my my wife, and he's wanting me to dab in some admin, and I know that's a process. Athletic admin, academic admin, I think will be great for me in the future. But either way it goes, I know I'm going to be right here. I love Broken Arrow, being a BA kid. There's so many opportunities out here. What they're doing for us downtown is great, and I just think it's somewhere at the top.
Very cool. Kyle, what about you?
Well, I definitely see it being a busy year, but and
then that's you can also kind of talk about what the next year looks like for you as well.
Sure. It's just this title. It's such an honor, and there's such a great tradition and legacy to this that it's not lost on me. I know the people who've before, and it's just amazing. That's something I want to make sure I represent. Not like Broken Arrow Public Schools, but our city and all that we stand for. I love this place. I mean, I moved here a year ago. Finally, somehow got a house here, but we got it, and so it was the universe aligned. I was supposed to be there. So I feel such part of this community. I'm just really happy to be here. As far as teaching, people ask me things all the time about, what's next? What do you do? Or do you want to do something else? For me, there's not much of a plan B. I don't see myself out of the classroom. I love teaching. I love being there firsthand, right on the front lines every day. It's not just the students, it's the people I work with. And somebody once told me that you teach tomorrow what you just learned yesterday. And it took me a second to think about that, but it's just that you never, there's a love of learning that just never goes away. And it's something, you learn something, you're like, I want to teach something. What can I do with that? What can I do with that? Even if it's something on Discovery Channel or something, like I've been doing that forever, even though that you've just saw that. It's just part of my DNA. And I think my grandma had it. I have it. And a lot of people have this. You have to. And I mean, the future, you never know, what happens, what opportunities come up, but teaching is such a part of my identity, that puzzle of who I am. It's hard to see anything else. So I'll be in the classroom for a long while.
We're not going to argue with that.
I'll take that.
And I think what shows his heart was if you win District Teacher of the Year, the very next day after our Star Gala, you get the day off. The district gets a substitute teacher for you. He was there the next day teaching because he felt he did not. Kids needed him there, and so that tells you of his heart that he has.
Well, I appreciate it. Like I said, I think I said it in one of my post interviews. I don't go a single day without thinking my classroom. For good or for better or for worse, whatever it is, I can't. I feel like I got to be there. I feel like I'm gonna miss something, and there's an opportunity, even if it's a little moment with these kids. You just don't want to miss it. Especially this year goes so fast. I can't believe it's April already, and so
Well, the kids count on you. I think that's with me looking back on the past, being here in Broken Arrow. I always counted on those teachers, and those teachers were always there. It didn't matter what day it was, time, they were always there, and the kids can always count. When they wake up in the morning, they're going to see their teacher in the classroom.
And a lot of them don't have that. It's
exactly.
They'll come in. You're that steady people there, that you're the ones there that they can rely on. So
and it's the same way with me. I wake up every morning, send my kids to school, kiss the wife, go to work. Those kids need us at school every day. Whatever we're going through outside of school is nothing compared to what they're going through. So they need to see that smile. They need to see that person. I mean, that's going to make their day a lot better. So that's big time, brother.
I just get the blessing of walking through sites all the time and seeing great teachers. And there's so much negativity we hear about public education that, from my view, I hope our audience here today gets to see what great educators we have in Broken Arrow. And you talk about the legacy that you've got to step into now as the District Teacher of the Year. Amanda Bowser is now one of the top 10 finalists in Oklahoma. We've had 3 State Teachers of the Year, Linda Webb, Kay Long, who you mentioned, and Donna Grottle. And so Broken Arrow is known as a place to attract great teachers and we want the public to see what we have to offer. And I just want to thank you all for choosing BA, because you have other choices, and you made a decision to dedicate your lives to our students, and we're grateful for it.
Well, and I think even the night itself, you guys can attest to this. Yeah. There's nobody that does an event like that around here that that has the dinner and showcases the teachers the way we do. I think that says a lot. We've been doing that since I've been here, and even a little bit before since I've been here, and it just keeps getting bigger and better.
I felt like I was at the Oscars. I mean, seriously.
A little more like the Golden Globes.
Golden Globes something. I mean, it was nice. It was nice.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up, but I've got a few questions that you didn't get to prepare for. This is just going to be a fun rapid fire segment. And Kyle, we'll start with you. Favorite movie of all time?
Oh, man. I don't think the podcast is long enough for that one, but I'll
only get one.
I only get one. Oh, man. I'm going to say Shawshank Redemption.
That's a good one. Good one. What about you?
Remember the Titans.
All right. Good answers. Good answers. Favorite recent TV show that you've binge watched?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think. Oh.
Or what, maybe didn't do it over a weekend, but that you were really into.
Well, it's no secret that I'm kind of nerdy. And Disney Plus has a show called X-Men 97.
Yeah, I've heard of some good stuff about that.
That was my time. I finally sat down and watched a lot of that. So my nerdy heart's happy.
Have any of us watched Abbott Elementary? Do you guys watch that at all?
I was actually going to talk about that, and I love Abbott Elementary.
Yeah, they do a good job, represent education pretty well.
I would probably say Abbott Elementary and Big Bang Theory for me.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Any interesting hobbies that people may actually be surprised to learn about you besides furniture making?
Well, man, besides that, it's kind of my main hobby. I guess I surprise people when I can juggle. I joke that part of being a teacher, you have to have a minor in like theater or something. But I learned because I need, like, if you start losing them, hey, do something. Yeah. But
it's good.
My hobby would probably be mowing my yard. Yes.
You got a riding lawnmower or a push?
Yes, it's a push mower, but it's I think that's just a nice hobby that I like.
Satisfying.
It's very satisfying to see the final product.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, see the final.
Have you won like a neighborhood yard of the?
Well, I'll put it this way: my neighbors, I've stepped their game up. That's all I'm saying.
All right, back to you, Kyle. Favorite band or musical artist of all time?
Oh man, these are tougher than the ones before. I don't know. I can think of this one. I'm kind of an '80s guy. I can't. I listen to a lot of '80s, like Journey.
Even though you were born in what year?
I was '82.
Oh, you were born in '80.
I was. I'm 41.
Oh man, I thought you were younger than that.
Well, I appreciate that.
He was too.
I'll give you that $20 later for mentioning that one. I think Journey's a good one. That's what I'm gonna go with. I've been listening to a lot of them lately. So
mine would be Wu-Tang Clan.
Nice. I'm a big Wu-Tang guy myself. Yeah. Chuck is too, I think.
Yeah, I never heard of him. Bring the ruckus, Chuck. Bring the ruckus.
All right, last question. Best vacation you've ever been on for you, or in your instance, you get a free vacation. So have you chosen where you're going to go yet? We'll let's go you and then you on this one. Best vacation.
My best vacation would probably be to San Diego to go see my uncle years ago. He's a Navy vet. Been there for now about 40 years.
Very cool.
So I come from a military family, military and medical family. The women in my family were working in the medical field, men in my family military. So I would say San Diego.
Well, I'm a Dodger fan, but I can't admit that San Diego is a great city. So,
I hear they have a great zoo. I'm a zoo guy, so I might go there.
They got a lot of great. It's a very pretty city. All right, so where are you going on this vacation?
We have a list of narrowing it down. She has a list that she's narrowing down. We haven't decided if we want to go too far or not, but we love the show Fixer Upper. Some people kind of look at it as like, but Waco, Texas, going down there and we're all about kind of a relaxing, just chill kind of trip. So I think that's where we may go. But like I said,
it's not on my radar.
I know, and it wasn't. We thought New Orleans. That was a good one too. We just can't go too far away for getting close to family and everything. So we kind of have to be ready. But any place that has museums or zoos, that's what I like. She may not like it as much, but ultimately it's her decision, but
Great opportunity to give a shout out to Celia
Yeah,
De Leon
absolutely.
Insurance here in town, who
Very
had
thankful.
enough heart to offer a free vacation to our district teacher of the year, and then Super Mercado Morelos.
You got a bunch of free groceries as
for
well.
a year, free
Wow.
groceries for a year.
The wife loved it.
So those two individuals, Mario, my mind's blank on his last name, but it
Not
makes-
Morelos.
no. But both of them makes me want to, do business with them for what they're giving
This
back.
this
to
is
the
why we
institution.
should have had Chase on this episode.
Yes, exactly. But a shout out to Super Mercado Morelos and Celia De
Absolutely.
Leon Insurance Agency, because big gifts.
very
Awesome.
thankful.
Well, guys, that was a lot of fun. 36 minutes flown by, and I appreciate you guys being on the show.
Thank you.
Chuck,
My
any
pleasure.
final thoughts?
No, just again, thank you all for what you do every day. It's you're not doing it for popularity. You're not doing it for the money. You do it because you have a heart for students, and it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening or watching to Core Values, and we'll see you next time.